Hey everyone, welcome to Steph and Key TV. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps our channel. And please let me know what you thought of today's video. All right, New Jersey, let's get into it. Okay, so we are picking up where we left off. Theresa has flown the coop and Marge runs in and she's like, what happened? You said Gia snorts, you know. And Jackie's like, well, I used it as an analogy. And she said, I was just telling her, like, this would be the same. Like, if I had said that I had heard this at Gia's party, spreading it all around, it would be the same. It would be damaging. And of course, she's like, Theresa doesn't get the analogy. Marge in her confessional is like, there's two things you can't do in this group. You can't use analogies because nobody ever knows what the F you mean. And you can't bring up people's kids. And she said Jackie did a 2-for-1 special. Okay, so I get it. I would never, I would hope that I would never bring up someone's kids in an argument, but I'm sorry, I'm on Jackie's side. She was using an analogy. Clearly, like Marge said, Jackie doesn't know her audience because over Theresa's head, as most things usually do. And it didn't land. Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like, I guess it landed like she wanted it to, but it didn't, like, it wasn't made clear to Theresa, like, this is what you're doing. You're putting out damaging rumors. You were spreading it around no matter what you said because you were spreading it around all over the party. So it's just like, and I get that they, like, kids are supposed to be off limits, but like families should be off limits. If you guys are going to do that, families should be off limits. Like, don't bring up my husband and I won't bring up your kids. Right? Like, don't bring up anybody from my family and I won't bring up anyone from your family. And I feel like they bring up each other's kids all the time. And someone did point out that Danielle did Marge so dirty, bringing up her kids left and right. And then when they told Theresa, like, how do you see that's not a problem, bringing up someone's kids? And she was like, well, it was an analogy. She was just making an example. So it's okay for other people to do that. But like when they do it to you, then all of a sudden it's a problem. Okay, Theresa, this is why I can't. So Jackie calls her husband, he's furious, and it's just like, whatever. So they don't know what to do about this trip now, but Jackie's like, if she doesn't go, then I would still like to go. I mean, with this amount of rage, I don't know if I'd be able to party at a trip, like whether Theresa went or not. But I mean, I don't see Theresa not going, so I'm just not seeing how this is going to work. So Marge said she's going to make it right. I don't know how you're going to make this right, Marge, but we'll see. Theresa goes home. She like flies into the garage. It was like, skirt. I was like, Lord, she's pissed. She's freaking out. She calls Melissa, doing a quick little small talk. And then she's like, so your friend, I met up with her and she's like crying and stuff. And then she said like I thought she was a strong woman. I thought a strong woman would want to know, but I guess she's a weak woman. Really, Theresa? Really? This is my problem with Theresa. Please, like, look at all the clips of people bringing up your husband cheating on you, bringing up you cheating on your husband. Your reactions weren't the reactions of a strong woman. Nah, like, you threw glasses, you raged, you almost choked someone, you like fought multiple times, you flung Andy into a chair for Danielle even bringing up your family. Not even talking about cheating rumors, but bringing up your family, how you were on the outs with Joe, your brother. You're crazy. You're not you can't throw around, oh, I guess she's a weak woman, when we have like multiple reactions of you not being a strong woman. Girl, get out of here. Goodbye. So then she tells Melissa, oh, she says, well, what if I said that Gia's snorting in the bathroom doing lines? And Melissa's like, wait, what? She's like, what is going on? And she's like, well, I wasn't there, so I don't know how it's said. And Theresa's like, what do you mean? There's only one way to say it. So after this, you better not be friends with her. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Here we go again with Theresa and the double standards. So like anytime like Jennifer has attacked Melissa, like there's multiple people who have attacked Melissa, Theresa's done nothing. oh, that's how they feel, so I'm sorry, I can't be on your side because they're my friend, I like them, and that's just how they feel. But anytime somebody goes against Theresa, you better be on my side. She's a psycho. She's a psycho. So then she's talking about she's gonna like annihilate Jackie with her tongue on this trip. Girl, you can't annihilate anybody with your words. You have no words. That's why you ran off calling her the C words, because she sliced and diced you with her words. Theresa, nobody thinks of you as a wordsmith, so nobody's gonna be afraid of you coming in to attack them with your words. Girl, bye. This show, this woman, I'm like super hyped up. I think it's the caffeine. Drinking. This is the first time I'm drinking coffee while watching this review, and maybe I should have went with decaf. So Jennifer takes her little daughter, Olivia, I think, to go visit her mom. I'm already over the storyline. Can we like not do this every episode? But she brings up her brother. He's with his new wife in Turkey until she gets her papers, and then they're coming to the States. And they look at pictures of the new baby. I mean, dang, they got that baby out quick. But it's new baby, and it's named after Jennifer's father. It's his name is John Bryan, but Jennifer's mother just calls him Brian. And Olivia's like, wait a minute, why do you call him Brian if his name is John? And she's like, what's wrong with Brian? So then it's just like, she doesn't want to call the baby John because it's named after her husband. And I'm like, girl, the pettiness. So then I'm still thinking like the mom is like vicious because of the last episode we saw, and the father was like scared and hunched and like, help me. But the mom starts crying, and she's saying like, you don't see like how he treats me behind closed doors. He turned my kids against me. You think he's an angel, but he says horrible things to me. And I'm like, whoa. So Jennifer talks about, you know, her parents having an arranged marriage, and she said, but her father never cheated. He always came home on time. But she also says that she never saw love. And I think that can be the problem sometimes with arranged marriages. Not all the time. Sometimes they're great and lovely, but sometimes like you're essentially having to marry a stranger, so the connection might not always be there, and you try to, you know, grow to love that person, but I feel like in some situations it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work, and because they don't believe in a divorce, they've just been struggling to stay in this loveless marriage, it seems like, and they don't want it anymore. And I feel like maybe, I mean, you two are old enough. Let's just break the tradition, get a divorce, move on with your lives, and like you still have time to find like happiness. So I would hope that they both are able to do that, and I hope we can move on, please, from the storyline. Dolores visits her mom. It's like a nice little moment, except for like the fact like when they get outside, they like take her mom takes off her mask. They're social distancing, but the masks are off. So I'm still not sure when they're shooting this, but it's still like, you know, pandemic situation. So I don't know. It's weird to not see people wear their masks. But she talks to her about David. She says he's still mad about like her telling him that she was getting surgery like the night before. The mom was like, shame on you, why didn't you tell him? She's like, well, you know, like we're not in a relationship, like I still haven't moved in his house, like we're not in like committed relationship, I still haven't moved in, and you know, you taught me to be self-sufficient, so I'm gonna do my own thing, which is perfectly fine. She's a grown-ass woman, she can do whatever she wants. But like her mom just says like, you don't like let people in or let people be there for you, and she's like, you do the same thing. So she learned it from her mom. And I feel like why even tell him like the night before if you felt like, I'm gonna do what I want to do? Like if you want him to be a part of your life, be a part of what's going on, I think she should have, like, if you want to be in this committed relationship, I feel like she should have given him a little bit more notice. Because what if he did want to be there for her? What if he wanted to go with her? He's a doctor. Like, I'm sure he would want to make sure that everything went okay. So it's just, I don't know. Like, she says he's great to her kids. She said he's not abusive. That was like the first thing. And I'm like, is that like the standard that we're going by? Just if they don't hit you, then they're good to go? Because it's just like, Lord, like, I'm just wondering like how many relationships she's been in where that's been a problem. And then it makes me wonder, like, was it like that with Frank? So But she said he's good to her kids, he's good to her mom, and that's not a guy you throw away. But I'm saying, like, girl, if this is what if you want commitment, if you want to be in a serious relationship where you're living with that person and you're getting married, then I don't believe that David is the guy for you. He does not seem like he's in any rush to get married, and he's not like a spring chicken. He's not young. So it just doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. And if it was going to happen, I feel like it would have happened already. Guys know what they want. So I feel like Dolores might need to find somebody else, or if she's just happy having it the way it is, then be okay with it. I guess. I don't know. Ugh. But she did mention that her parents have like a non-traditional marriage. Like they're married, they love each other, they like each other, but they live in different houses and in different towns because her dad, when she was younger, got a chief of police job and had to move, and her mom was like, I ain't moving. So they are still married but live in different houses and in different towns. So I'm wondering, like, how often do they visit each other? It's like quite interesting. And then that also makes me think of when like Dolores, either it was last season or season before, she was like kind of clowning Jackie, saying like, we're different because we're Italian and like you're Jewish, and it's like different with families. But I'm like, I feel like Jackie's family has like non-traditional, like her parents like don't live together either, but they're married. So I feel like they have like a lot of similarities, and it was just weird to find this out about Dolores's parents when she was throwing all that shade about Jackie's family situation. So it's just weird. But these women are weird. Like they're so much alike, and I feel like that's why they go head to head so often, and they just can't see it. Like we have a lot more in common than we do opposites. So whatever, they're weird. So the ladies are packing for this trip. Marge doesn't know who's going. Dolores calls and she's like, I don't know who's going on this trip. And Dolores is like, why? So she tells her about Jackie and Theresa meeting up. She tells her about like Jackie using the analogy, and Dolores is like, crap. She's like, I don't blame Jackie for being upset, but she just threw gasoline on the fire, and she did. I mean, it's out there, it's too late. Don't come for me and I won't come for you. So now Theresa's talking to Jennifer, and we know that Jennifer's up Theresa's ass, so I'm sure she's gonna be on her side. So Jennifer's like, how is this trip gonna happen? Like everybody's like, how are we gonna do this? Like how? So Jackie calls Melissa, and Melissa's like, I really hope you didn't say that. And she's like, I did. She's like, I said it, but I used it as an analogy. And of course, like everybody else, Melissa's like, I don't think Theresa knows what an analogy is. Jackie's like, clearly she does not. And she's like, yeah, this is just not going to go over well. And Jackie's like, well, my intent wasn't to hurt her. It was just to make her understand how much this would hurt someone if you're spreading rumors about them. And she's like, I didn't even spread a rumor. I said it on the couch at Margaret's house. She went around my husband's party and spread this rumor. So like, it's not the same. It's not. And I'm on Jackie's side. I do feel like, though, Jackie, that you did intend to hurt her. I know you were trying to use an analogy and make her understand, but you did intend to hurt her because you wanted to hurt her like she hurt you. And this was the way to do it because she's pissed. So the trip is on. The trip is on. All the ladies are coming to Marge's house except for Jackie. Jackie calls Marge and she's like, so did you hear anything from Theresa? And she's like, no. And she's like, well, I guess she's still coming, so that means I ain't going. So the trip is on. The ladies start coming. Melissa shows up first, and then Jennifer comes in. And I completely forgot that they don't like each other still because I've been wrapped up in the Jackie-Theresa mess that, like, I forgot all about Melissa and Jennifer hating each other. So they, like, fake hi, and then don't even talk. And then Dolores comes, so everyone's coming, right? And Marge is like, Jackie's not coming. And then they start talking, and they're like, so we got to figure out how to like tell Theresa she was wrong. Good luck with that. So Theresa shows up. Melissa, of course, has to point out the fact that we're missing one. Jackie's not coming. And Theresa, it like sets in at first, and she's like, oh, great. Well, then we're going to have a good time. She's like, actually, I was looking forward to her coming because I was going to, like, go after her. She came after my kid, and Marge is like, no, she did not come after your child. She was using an analogy. And Theresa's like, F her and her analogies. You don't say that about my kid. And then Marge is like, she was just trying to show you how damaging that could be if she went around spreading that. And then, of course, in her confessional, Marge is like, the analogy would never have been made if you didn't spread the rumor. Duh. Like, duh. How can you be on Theresa's side, like, at all with this? Jackie was trying to, like, throw out an olive branch and invited you to her party. She was joking around with you, talking about how her husband can set you up with someone, and then you spread that. Like, if you didn't want to... So all the ladies are in the little van on the way to Lake George, and oh goody, the friend of the show is coming. Like, why is she coming? Who is she? So then, of course, Theresa brings up the fact that Jackie's not coming again, so she's so excited. They're gonna have so much fun. Marge is like, I actually miss Jackie and I wish she was coming. They just start trying to get Theresa to understand how she was wrong. It's not working, and she's just like, well, I just figured like that she would want to know. Like, I'm sorry that I said it at the party, but I'm not sorry I said it. And even Dolores is like, I would just be mad at you because you're not telling us, like, who's the one who said it. And she's like, well, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus. And she's like, she needs to stand up for her man. Why is she so upset? I feel like Jackie was standing up for her man by confronting you about this rumor. She was standing up for her man. And then, of course, they show the clip of Theresa going off on Kim D about spreading the rumors about Theresa cheating on Giles. So it's like, girl, hypocrite. You're such a big, fat hypocrite. So then Theresa's like, well, I mean, he seems like a suave kind of guy. Marge is like, so do you have a crush on him? Because you're always talking about how he's like the cutest husband. And she's like, well, he's my type. I don't have a crush on him, but he's my type. Girl, no. You have a full-on crush on him. Jackie was right. She's living the life that you want. You want that husband who's there with you and your kids and loving on you and taking care of you. And you don't have that. And you don't like Jackie. So those two things made you decide to get back at her. And you're jealous because she's got like a good looking husband that you want, and you hate her, so you wanted to spread this vicious lie. Theresa's bringing up the fact that, like, well, she doesn't give blowjobs. So, I mean, if I was like, you love someone, you lick them up and down, and I wish she was here because I would have rode her harder than her husband does. Like, Lord. Theresa. So clearly talking sense in Theresa is not going to work. And I could have told you ladies that. So Frank and David go to the shooting range, the gun range, shooting range, and they're cracking jokes, having a good time. We find out that Frank, at a while back at a job site, fell down a flight of stairs, busted his legs all up. He moved in with David. I'm like, everybody moves in with David. He moved in with David. David took care of him. I'm like, Lord. If David ever decides to get married to some woman, he's going to make her a very happy woman. He takes care of, like, everybody. Everybody moves in with him. It's like, I mean, he seems like a great guy, just not like a great boyfriend. So after they're done shooting, and, like, David, like, lit him up, I mean, Frank's just not, like, where he was, so David was shooting a million times better than him. So they sit down and have a good chat about, like, their, like, Dolores and David's relationship. Frank, I feel like, gave some really good advice. He's just like, you know, you guys don't communicate well. Her feelings were hurt that you were just like, I'm out of here. I don't want to talk about the surgeries. He's like, but I'm on your side. She doesn't need the surgery, so I understand, but you guys just can't come together. He says, like, she is upset about the commitment issue. Like, when you didn't want to get married, when she wanted to get married, her defense mechanisms went up, which is true. And so she didn't want to move in. And David's like, well, I'm just trying to work on one project at a time. And Frank's like, you're procrastinating. He's like, you're a great doctor, but a crappy boyfriend. He's like, maybe you have commitment issues. I feel like if I was David, I would take the advice, because he doesn't seem like, he seems like he has commitment issues. But he could have also told Frank, like, hey, I may be a crappy boyfriend, but you were a crappy husband. You cheated on her, and that's why you're divorced now. He could have said that if he wanted to be petty. But I feel like he was taking in the advice. Hopefully he listens to Frank, because I feel like Frank was giving some good advice. And he's like, because David says, like, you have commitment issues too. And Frank's like, yeah, but I'm not with Dolores. You are. So listen to Frank, David. So we get to the lake house. It's beautiful. Everyone's trying to get their rooms. Melissa gets her room first, and Jennifer's throwing shade. Like, of course, she has to get the best room with the biggest mirror, which she does. It's true. But, like, Jennifer's, please. Like, can we go back to your first season when you complained about every little thing that wasn't, like, perfect and, oh, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing. You are just as bad, or if not worse. Don't try to act like you're different now because you're trying to make Melissa seem like she's the most self-absorbed. You're all self-absorbed. So they're trying to have like sit down, have a good time. Marge had lunch brought in. And then, of course, Theresa brings up Jackie again. And she's like, Jackie's missing out. So they start talking about Jackie. Theresa, of course, being Theresa, puts the blame on everybody else. Oh, you shouldn't have given me so much tequila. Oh, you should have like known me better. You should have stopped me. Like, and then Melissa starts cracking jokes, making fun of her. Like, you made me do it. Why did you make me do it? It's all your fault that I did this to Jackie. And they start cracking up. Dolores feels bad that they're laughing. She's like, I feel bad though, because, you know, poor Jackie. So, but Theresa, being Theresa, is trying to make it seem like, oh, if it's not true, then she should just be fine. And of course, they bring back the flashbacks of Theresa getting rumors put on her, and it's not fine. So then she brings up, well, she's like, when those rumors are around about me, Jackie's had something to say. So they go to that flashback, and Marge is like, yeah, but there's pictures going around of you holding the guy's hand. It's like, it's not the same. Like, you stop trying to make it the same. It's not the same. It's just not. So then Theresa, still grasping at straws, finally brings up the Gia thing because she knows that will get them on her side. And they're like, yeah, she shouldn't have said that. And she's like, she's lucky I'm not here. She wants to throw a glass. She's always wanting to throw something crazy. And Dolores in her confessionals talks about, like, I'm surprised Jackie got out of there alive. I'm pretty sure it's because Theresa's still on probation and she couldn't hurt her. If she could have hurt her and she wasn't on probation, she would have. She would have definitely tried. So Jackie's stuck at home with the kids, cutting their hair, and she's just having a rough time. She talks to her kids. She keeps asking them, like, are you happy I stayed home? I'm like, what are they going to tell you? No, Jackie? But her daughter does end up asking her, why didn't she go? So she tries to, you know, give them a lesson about, like, you don't have to be friends with people who don't treat you right. And if you, like, someone was mean to mommy, I try to give them a chance. They weren't nice to me, so I didn't want to be around them. So she's trying to give little life lessons. I feel like, yeah, this is going to be a rough time for her. I don't know what you were expecting being on this reality show with this woman. People are going to try to attack your marriage. And yeah, it's just, this is a rough situation. So Melissa makes a great point. She says that Jackie's trying to use logic with Theresa. They go to a flashback with Theresa and Melissa and back in the day when they used to have their fights, because Theresa was spreading rumors about Melissa, like deja vu, and she's just like, it just doesn't work. And it doesn't. You can't use logic with Theresa. You can't. So they're getting ready to go to dinner. Theresa's in heat. She wants to be in a relationship with a guy who's giving it to her 3 times a day. Melissa says, my vagina hurts just thinking about it. Ditto. So now they're at dinner. They're ordering drinks. They all get a text from Jackie saying, like, I miss you ladies. Hope you're having a good time. Have a drink for me. Well, everyone except for Theresa, of course. And Marge is just saying, well, this is good. I think she just needed some time to think, and the two of you needed to be separated for a little bit. Leave it to Gia to have the common sense in that family. She's like, you're upset because she said something about your daughter. She's upset because you said something about her husband. If you said it in a terrible way, you need to apologize. How does your daughter have more sense than you? So while the ladies are getting their food, we find out that Joe, Theresa's ex-husband, sells sex toys. And he sent her one. Melissa's trying to act all prudish, like, you're making me so uncomfortable right now. We find out that David knows his way around Dolores's vagina, and she's like, 21 years, they don't compare to David. I'm like, that's why she's not letting him go, because he's putting it down in the bedroom. So Melissa points out that Jennifer's nipple is showing under her little sheer shirt, and they start cracking jokes. And Marge is like, well, I mean, Jackie's not here, but at least Melissa and Jennifer are getting along. And they're like, yay. And then Melissa's like, so am I being self-absorbed tonight? Because that was the joke that, that was the dig that Jennifer said at the reunion. And Jennifer's like, well, I don't think being self-absorbed is a bad thing. And Melissa's like, no, that was rude. And you were taking shots about me trying to have a family. And Jennifer's like, well, I was on the defense. Finally, Dolores with some common sense, because I felt like she was on Jennifer's side the whole time last season. She jumps in and says like, no, you were coming in hot. And I think that made Jennifer take a step back. And she's like, okay, look, it was rude. I was wrong. Like, I apologize. And Melissa accepts it. So hopefully they can move on. I don't know if it'll last, but I'm hoping it will, because we can only handle the Jackie and Therese drama right now. We don't need any side fights. So let's just move on and let this go. So then we think we're done, but then Theresa brings up Jackie again, and it's like, oh my gosh, let it go. She's still pissed. She's never gonna ever let this go. They will never be friends. They will never make up. It just won't happen. So that wraps it up for this episode. I'm sorry this video was so long. I tried to make it as short as possible, but there was like so much to talk about. I'm sorry. I'll try to do better in the future, but please let me know what you thought of today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're in the know when I release a new video, and I will see you in the next video. Stay safe, everyone. Bye!